Have you ever felt so lost, so completely overwhelmed by life that you don't know where to turn? Imagine reaching a point where nothing makes sense, where the weight of the world feels so heavy that you willingly walk into a psychiatric hospital. Not because you're forced to, but because you're desperate for help. This is where the incredible true story of Hunter Patch Adams begins. After years of emotional struggle and feeling like a failure, Hunter Adams checks himself into a psychiatric hospital. It's a moment of surrender, a cry for help from a man who has lost his way. Inside, he's surrounded by people who are just as lost as he is. He meets Rudy, a man consumed by severe anxiety, whose world is a constant battle against his own mind. He meets Arthur, a brilliant but fragile soul whose unique perception of the world is often dismissed as madness. Most people in Patch's situation would have kept to themselves, focusing only on their own recovery. But Patch does something different. Instead of just observing, he connects. He sits with Rudy and listens, not as a doctor but as a friend. He engages with Arthur, finding wisdom in his seemingly strange ideas. He comforts them, shares stories, and for the first time in years, he feels something he thought was long gone: a sense of purpose. It's in this seemingly hopeless place that Patch discovers a profound truth. When you help others heal, you begin to heal yourself. He starts forming a small support circle with the other patients. They share jokes, tell stories, and create moments of genuine human connection that slowly chip away at the walls of loneliness and despair. Patch realizes that care, compassion, and simply being there for someone can be more powerful than any prescription. This experience doesn't just change his perspective. It changes his entire life. He walks out of that hospital with a new mission. Determined to bring this revolutionary idea into the real world, Patch enrolls in medical school. He's full of hope, ready to become a doctor who heals not just with medicine, but with heart. But he very quickly runs into a massive problem. The system is cold. It's rigid, strict, and completely emotionless. From day one, students are taught to prioritize technical skill over empathy, charts over feelings, and the disease over the person who has it. Patch is stunned. He questions everything. How can you possibly heal a person without acknowledging their humanity? How can you treat their suffering if you refuse to connect with them on an emotional level? The film exposes a painful reality of modern medicine. As it becomes more technologically advanced, it often distances itself from the core of healing, the human touch. The professors demand formality. The students are trained to detach themselves emotionally, to see patients as nothing more than cases, subjects, or room numbers. It's a system designed to create efficient technicians, not compassionate healers. But Patch refuses to accept this. He believes a doctor's first and most important job is to care, not just to cure. He argues that treating a person's spirit is just as critical as treating their body, so he decides to break the rules. He starts sneaking into the children's wards at the hospital, dressed as a clown. He puts a red nose on, wears oversized shoes, and brings laughter and joy into rooms that are usually filled with fear and pain. He makes kids who are going through unimaginable hardship laugh. He uses simple props, like a bedpan for a hat or an enema bulb for a horn, to create moments of pure, unadulterated fun. He doesn't just entertain the children. He connects with their parents, helping them breathe through the overwhelming stress and anxiety of having a sick child. With every visit, with every smile he coaxes out, Patch proves that humor is not a distraction from medicine. It is a form of medicine. Laughter, he shows, is a powerful tool for healing. However, Patch's unconventional methods quickly put him on a collision course with the medical establishment. The dean of the medical school, a man who lives by the book, sees Patch not as an innovator, but as a reckless troublemaker. He sees him as a threat to the rigid, hierarchical order of the hospital. His classmates are divided. Some are inspired by his courage, but many others doubt him, seeing his antics as unprofessional and silly. The more he pushes the boundaries, the tighter the rules become around him. He's constantly disciplined, threatened with expulsion, and told that he doesn't have what it takes to be a doctor. Despite the constant opposition, Patch's vision only grows bigger. He dreams of creating a different kind of hospital, a place called the Gesundheit Institute. It wouldn't be a cold, sterile institution, but a vibrant, communal home where patients and doctors live together. A hospital where treatment is free, where healing is holistic, and where joy and compassion are the guiding principles. He starts to gather a small group of like-minded friends, fellow students who believe in his dream. They find an old property in the countryside and begin the monumental task of building this hospital from the ground up, a sanctuary based on love and laughter. But just as his dream begins to take shape, just as it seems like he might actually succeed in changing the world, Patch's life is shattered by a devastating tragedy. An event so sudden and so brutal that it shakes him to his very core, making him question everything he believes in. The man who dedicated his life to bringing joy to others is suddenly plunged into the deepest darkness imaginable. He's faced with a choice: give up on his dream and let the cynicism of the world win, or find a way to carry on, even with a broken heart. The story of Patch Adams is more than just a movie. It's a powerful reminder that the greatest healing comes from human connection. It challenges us to rethink what it means to care for one another and asks a fundamental question. In our quest for scientific advancement, have we forgotten the simple, powerful act of being human? It's a story about resilience, the power of laughter, and one man's refusal to let a cold system extinguish the warmth of the human heart. This is the story of a man who dared to ask that question. A man named Patch Adams. Patch didn't see hospitals as sterile, quiet places. He envisioned a sanctuary filled with humor and empathy. A place where doctors and patients weren't separated by a wall of authority, but were partners in healing. He believed in what he called the zone of proximal development, a simple but powerful idea. The happiness of the staff could literally lift the spirits of the sick. This wasn't just a dream. He was determined to build it. In his journey, he met Karen. She saw the same vision he did, and they quickly became partners, not just in life, but in their shared mission. Together, they dreamed of a free hospital, a community where no one would ever feel isolated or afraid. Their bond was magnetic, a source of strength and inspiration. But the same compassion that brought them together would also lead them into danger. One night, Karen extended a hand to a deeply troubled patient, trying to offer the same kindness they preached. And in a single devastating moment, tragedy struck. She was gone. The loss of Karen shattered Patch. The light that had guided him was extinguished, and he was plunged into darkness. He blamed himself, his guilt a suffocating weight. The very foundation of his philosophy, that empathy could heal, now felt like a cruel joke. His revolutionary ideas seemed hollow, his mission meaningless. He turned his back on everything, isolating himself from the world, ready to walk away from medicine forever. He had lost his partner, his purpose, and himself. Standing on the edge of a cliff about to give up, something small and beautiful caught his eye: a butterfly. It fluttered around him, a delicate dance of color against the bleak landscape. For Patch, it was more than just an insect. It was a sign. It was Karen. It was hope. It was a symbol of transformation. In that moment, he remembered that this mission wasn't just his dream. It was hers too. Helping others, bringing joy to the suffering, that was their shared purpose. The butterfly didn't just save his life. It resurrected his spirit. With newfound resolve, Patch returned, stronger and more determined than ever. But his return was met with resistance. The medical establishment saw him not as an innovator, but as a liability. He was summoned before the medical board, his entire future hanging in the balance. They accused him of breaking the rules, of undermining the dignity of the profession. They questioned his methods, his sanity. The dean looked at him and demanded to know why they should ever let someone like him, someone who treated medicine like a circus, become a doctor. This was Patch's moment. He stood before them, not as a defendant, but as a teacher. He delivered a speech that would become the heart of his entire story. He argued that a doctor's true mission isn't just to delay death or treat a disease, but to improve the quality of life. To treat the person, not just the illness. He asked them, what's wrong with death? Why are we so terrified of it? He argued that the goal should be to treat the patient's soul. Just as it seemed the board was ready to cast him out, the doors swung open. In walked his patients. The children he'd made laugh, the families he'd comforted, the people whose lives he had touched. They came not as evidence, but as a testament. They stood for him, defending the man who had shown them that a doctor could also be a friend. In that room, it wasn't rules versus rebellion. It was bureaucracy versus humanity, and humanity won. Patch Adams graduated. He walked across that stage, not with a quiet handshake, but with his arms wide open, a symbol of his philosophy. He received his diploma, a maverick who had proven that compassion is not a weakness, but the most powerful medicine of all. His story didn't end there. He went on to build his real-life Gesundheit Institute, inspiring a new generation of doctors to see the person behind the patient. But there's a poignant final chapter to this story, one that exists outside the film. The man who brought Patch to life on screen was Robin Williams. His performance was iconic, capturing Patch's chaotic energy and deep empathy perfectly. And in a way, Jehovah's lives mirrored each other. Robin, the comedic genius who brought endless laughter to millions, also privately battled his own deep sadness. Both men, the real doctor and the actor who played him, wore a clown's nose to heal the world, while hiding their own scars. Their combined story teaches us a profound lesson. It shows that behind the brightest humor often lies the deepest humanity. Behind the loudest laughter there is often a quiet, empathetic heart. Their lives are a powerful reminder that our greatest strength can come from our deepest wounds, and that the simple act of making someone smile can be the most heroic act of all. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched you, please give this video a like and subscribe for more content that explores the human spirit. See you next time.